I hear this all the time. Don't worry, we have a cash buyer. What does that even mean? Is someone showing up with a briefcase full of money? No. And here's the problem. Some of these cash buyers aren't actually cash buyers. And when the deal falls apart, the seller pays the price. Let me explain what's really going on. In real estate, a cash buyer simply means buyer is not relying on a mortgage to close the purchase. That's it. It means the buyer already has access to the money required to complete the transaction. But that money is almost never literal cash. It usually comes from savings, investment accounts, selling another property, a line of credit, business liquidity, even inheritance or family funds. On closing day, the money is transferred electronically to the lawyer's trust account. So again, no briefcases, just bank transfers. And here's something many people don't realize. Even if a buyer has a mortgage pre-approval, the deal is not guaranteed. Let's say a buyer purchased a home today and the closing is 4 months away. A lot can happen in 4 months. The buyer could lose their job, change employment, increase their debt, or do something unthinkable like buying 2 luxury cars. Suddenly, their debt ratio changes. The lender reviews everything again before funding the mortgage. And the lender says, sorry, we can't approve this mortgage anymore. That deal can collapse right before closing. This is where cash buyers become attractive to sellers because a cash buyer removes the financial risk. There is no lender approval, no mortgage condition, no appraisal requirement, which means the offer is simpler and cleaner. The real advantage of a cash buyer is speed. Cash buyers can often close in 2 weeks, sometimes even faster. That's extremely attractive for sellers who need money quickly. Situations like estate sales, divorce situation, relocation, investors, repositioning capital. In those situations, certainty and speed can matter more than price. But here is a risk that many people don't talk about. Sometimes buyers claim to be cash buyers just to win a bidding war. They remove the financing conditions to make their offer stronger. But in reality, they still need financing. Now the seller accepts the offer thinking the deal is guaranteed, and weeks later, the buyer can't close. That creates a serious problem, which is why experienced realtors often ask for proof of funds, things like bank statements, investment account confirmations, letters from financial institutions, because the seller needs confidence the money actually exists. Here is another way sellers can protect themselves. If someone claims to be a cash buyer, ask for a larger deposit. Typically in Ontario, deposits might be around 5% of the purchase price. But if the buyer says they are paying cash, the seller could request 10% instead. Why? Because a larger deposit shows real financial commitment. If the buyer fails to close, the deposit can become significant protection for the seller. It's one way to separate real cash buyers from the pretend cash buyers. Before we wrap this up, let me give you something very real from the trenches. When a true cash buyer submits an offer and they include a deposit check right with the offer, that's a very strong signal. It tells the seller, this buyer is serious, this buyer is ready, this buyer is not going to disappear tomorrow. Now, compare that to another offer. Maybe it's 20,000, 30,000 higher on paper, but there is no deposit in hand. The buyer says, we'll send the deposit tomorrow. Here's the reality. Buyers sometimes get cold feet. Buyers walk away. Buyers don't deliver the deposit. It happens all the time. So now as a seller, you have a choice. Take the highest offer on paper or take the offer that is already real with a deposit. Because if that highest offer falls apart, yes, you can go after that buyer legally. But good luck. That's time. That's stress. That's uncertainty. And while you are chasing that buyer, that real cash buyer, they've already bought another property. So when you have a cash buyer with a deposit check in hand in a fast moving market, that deal is often firm and sold the very night. So next time you hear the phrase cash buyer, remember, it doesn't mean suitcases of money. It simply means the buyer does not need a mortgage to complete the purchase. And in many situations, that can make a deal faster, simpler, and safer for the sellers. But like everything in real estate, the details matter. If you are buying or selling in Ontario or anywhere in North America, I can connect you with a top agent in your area. Because this isn't just about price, it's about certainty, quality, structure, and execution. And if you're upsizing, I'll connect you with a mortgage broker who actually understands strategy, portability, blended rates, all of that. I've done a video on walking you through what happens with your mortgage when you're upsizing. Please go ahead and check it out on my channel. Or if you just want to speak to me directly, call or text 647-818-7373. I'm Realtor Roshan, and I would love to see you on my next video.